Wednesday morning, Oswego, and welcome to Top in the Morning on WTOP10. I'm Samantha Damasio. Today is October 17th, and this is your news and weather to get you out the door. Let's take a quick look at your top stories before a look at your weather. After last night's vote, the East Syracuse Police Department is here to stay. Some relief for local residents. The suspect in the Syracuse YMCA stabbing incident is now in custody. Another important figure in the Syracuse area this week, former President Bill Clinton, will be at Hancock Airport on Friday. And for your national news, the outbreak of meningitis is growing. And the only thing missing from last night's presidential debate were a pair of boxing gloves. We'll have an in-depth look at your top stories in just a moment, but first, a quick look at your weather with Chief Meteorologist Patrick Kavlin. Good morning, Pat.
Top of the morning to you, Sam, and to the rest of Oswego. Take a look at this beautiful shot this morning on my way here, right as the sun was getting to rise over the SUNY Oswego campus. A beautiful day, and it's shaping up to be a pretty nice morning as we head through the last few hours. And just a few green specks on the radar right now, as you can see here over the western Great Lakes. That'll be slowly working its way into our area, but I think the showers should dissolve by the time they hit us. So I think we're looking at a pretty nice day here. Right now, 37 degrees, mostly sunny skies, a great way to start the middle of the week right now. Temperatures around New York State pretty chilly for this time of year, in the low to mid 30s across the majority of the state. Cool spot, Glens Falls, you're actually below the freezing mark at this hour at 30 degrees. So for today, mostly cloudy skies, though the clouds will build in, but I think the showers will hold off and our temperatures recover nicely. 64 degrees, a spectacular day for mid-October. And now as we take a look at the next 3 days, breezy conditions tomorrow, but look at that temperature, 68. You really can't beat that. We become unsettled towards the end of the week and the beginning half of the weekend. Find out how it's looking for the rest of the weekend when we take a full look at the forecast in just 10 minutes. But right now, we'll send it back to Sam for the top stories.
All right, thanks, Pat. The East Syracuse police force is here to stay. Last night's question before voters at the polls was whether to allow the police department to be abolished and to allow the nearby town of DeWitt police force to take over patrols. In the end, voters rejected the plan, which had already been signed off on by local leaders in East Syracuse and DeWitt. In arguing for the abolishing of the force, the DeWitt Police Department would have saved roughly $750,000 within the first year. Those who voted to keep the force considered taking serious action if the police department was absorbed by DeWitt. Residents said they would pick up and move elsewhere, taking their businesses with them. The end results were 504 for no and 278 for yes. And the man allegedly responsible for Saturday's slashing at the YMCA in downtown Syracuse is in custody. Syracuse police found English Rogers in an apartment on the South Avenue in Syracuse last night. Rogers was living at the YMCA prior to the attack. Police believe Rogers entered victim Matthew Jeffsky's room at the YMCA and slashed his throat. Due to the severity of Jeffsky's injuries, he cannot yet talk to police. Police said Rogers' motive may have been robbery, but they do not know for sure yet. They said the media played a big role in Rogers being found. Rogers will most likely be charged this morning. Those charges are believed to be for assault in at least the first degree. And former President Bill Clinton will be in Syracuse on Friday to throw his support behind Central New York congressional candidate in Dan Maffei. Clinton will officially endorse Democrats Dan Maffei for Congress. He will appear at a public rally at 1 p.m. at Hancock Airport. Clinton previously backed Maffei for the 2010 election when he lost to Republican Anne Marie Burkle. And last week, we broke news to you on the meningitis outbreak. Today, the investigation into the deadly outbreak of meningitis is growing. So far, the CDC has identified 214 cases and 15 deaths in several states. Ed Payne has more on the story.
Criminal investigators from the Department of Justice and the Food and Drug Administration searched the New England Compounding Center in Framingham, Massachusetts, Tuesday. Federal officials say more issues have been reported with drugs from NECC, which have been linked to a deadly multi-state outbreak of fungal meningitis that appears to be spreading. Most of the patients got sick after getting steroid injections for back and neck pain that were contaminated. But the newest infections are from drugs used in heart and eye surgery. Dr. John Jernigan with the CDC says more patients could be at risk.
Up to 14,000 people may have been exposed to one of the three potentially contaminated lots of medication. You may have noticed that the case count has gone up in recent days. We think this is mainly because we're doing a better job at finding the cases.
Dr. Donald Williamson with the Alabama Department of Health is tracking patients in his state.
Alabama now has 19 residents who received NECC contaminated steroid products. Again, those individuals were not exposed in Alabama. They received injections in Tennessee and Florida.
Federal officials confirmed they are investigating allegations concerning NECC, but did not elaborate. An attorney for NECC says the company is cooperating with the investigation. I'm Ed Payne reporting.
President Obama and former Governor Mitt Romney met at a debate last night that was often heated and contentious. Renee Marsh joins us from Hempstead, New York with a recap.
President Obama pulled few punches last night, a stark contrast to his debate performance 2 weeks ago.
When he said behind closed doors that 47% of the country considered themselves victims who refused personal responsibility, think about who he was talking about.
Mitt Romney held his ground, calling the president a failed leader.
A recent study has shown that people in the middle class will see $4,000 a year higher taxes as a result of the spending and borrowing of this administration. I will not let that happen.
The candidates clashed over the economy, energy, and the administration's response to the attack in Libya that killed 4 Americans, including the U.S. ambassador.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden and I told the American people and the world that we are going to find out exactly what happened, that this was an act of terror.
It took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
A poll of voters who watched put the president in the winner's circle by a slim margin, but said Romney would do a better job with the economy. Both sides say their guy won.
President Obama spent exactly no time at all speaking about any specific plans for a second term.
I think it exposed Governor Romney, his tax plan, his jobs plan. As the president said, it's a sketchy deal.
All right, well, the next and final presidential debate happens next Monday. The focus will be foreign policy and national security. Reporting in Hempstead, New York, I'm Renee Marsh.
And we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have Patrick Kavlin with an updated financial report and a closer look at your world news. Stay with us. This is WTOP Top in the Morning.
Hey Chris, what are you doing here?
Oh, I always want to be first in line for the Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit.
The what?
The Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit.
What is that?
The Dr. Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit, Wednesday, October 24th at 3 p.m. inside Waterman Theater in Tyler Hall on the campus of SUNY Oswego. Meet the panelists who guide our media future.
Hair loss. Now this rash on my face, what's going on?
For answers, ask your doctor the right question.
Could I have lupus?
The Oswego MBA program, helping you achieve your goals with a customized curriculum developed with flexibility in mind. Take classes year-round, full or part-time in Oswego, online or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available online or by calling 315-312-2911.
And now for a look at your financial report. In the wake of last week's sell-off, Wall Street may be heading back towards its 2012 highs, or at least that's what some analysts believe. Yesterday, stocks ended on a high note, with the Dow finishing up 127 points, the Nasdaq up 37, and the S&P up nearly 15 points. Stocks in the past 2 days have been lifted by better than expected U.S. economic reports and earnings news, with today expected to be another big day for earnings reports. This morning, releases expected from Bank of America, PepsiCo, BlackRock, Halliburton and several other companies are expected to offer some more promising news. And the Mortgage Bank Association said its seasonally adjusted index of mortgage application activity, which includes both refinancing and purchase demand, dropped 4.2% last week. However, the seasonally adjusted purchase index, the primary indicator of home sales, increased by 1% during the same week, putting that index at its highest level since June. And with less than 30 minutes to go to the opening bell, the Dow futures right now are up 19 points, the NASDAQ futures down 4, and the S&P futures up about 3.5. That's a look at what's going on Wall Street. Here's a check of what's happening around the world with Sam.
Thanks, Pat. A Canadian border officer was shot in her booth yesterday afternoon by a motorist who has not yet been identified. Canadian police say the shooting occurred at a border crossing from Blaine, Washington. The border officer was breathing before being airlifted to a hospital, but further details about her condition are not yet available. The man proceeded to shoot himself and was pronounced dead at the scene. The border crossing was closed down immediately after the shooting, leaving about 60 vehicles stranded for quite a while on the Canadian side of the border. And Japan is furious that once again, U.S. military personnel are accused of raping a woman in Okinawa. 2 sailors have been arrested. Japanese Defense Minister Satoshi Muramoto says he'll issue a formal protest with the U.S. government and demand measures be taken to prevent future attacks. Since the mid-1990s, several U.S. servicemen have been accused of sexual assault in Japan. CNN's Alex Zolbert has the latest.
Troubling accusations against 2 U.S. servicemen here in Japan. Police in Okinawa say the men are accused of raping a Japanese woman early on Tuesday morning. The police in Okinawa give their names as U.S. Navy seaman Christopher Daniel Browning and Petty Officer Skylar Andrew Dozier Walker, both apparently 23 years old, both from the Fort Worth Naval Air Station in Texas. And this latest incident just further heightening tensions over the American military presence on Okinawa. Okinawa's governor today has called the incident beyond madness. Japan's prime minister says this should never have been allowed to happen. For his part, here's what the U.S. ambassador had to say here today in Tokyo.
This is a very serious matter, and it is the full intent of the United States government to provide full and complete and unequivocal cooperation to the Japanese authorities in their investigation of this matter.
Keep in mind, Japan has one of the lowest crime rates of any country in the world, making crimes like this that much more shocking. And to add to all of this, just 2 months ago, a U.S. Marine in Okinawa was charged with sexual assault. On top of that, still weighing heavy on the minds of many people there is the kidnap and rape of a 12-year-old girl by 3 U.S. servicemen back in 1995. Still, in terms of this latest case, we should point out the investigation is in the early stages and neither suspect has been charged at this point. Alex Zolbert, CNN, Tokyo.
All right, Pat. So some warmer weather in the future for us? Is it going to stay that way for Family and Friends Weekend coming up?
Yeah, well, tomorrow I think we could actually top out around 70 degrees, or at least pushing it.
Wow.
But it's not going to last into the weekend. Let's take a look at the radar outside right now, and you can see just a few showers off to the west, kind of around Lake Erie region, starting to make their way into Buffalo, but I don't think those are going to reach us. In fact, I think they'll die out before they reach our neck of the woods. As we pull out, though, you can see the wider shot of the New York State region and the rest of the Northeast. And just these showers out here, just really pesky nuisance showers, nothing too heavy, slowly creeping their way into the western portions of New York State. And again, it's not a washout, and don't be surprised if you see a little bit of drizzle later, but I'm really thinking that they won't be affecting us as we go into the latter part of the day. Right now, though, a great start to the morning, 37 degrees, mostly sunny skies, really can't beat that. A little chilly, but it will warm up as we go through the rest of the day. As you take a look at the surface map right now, you can see this is the main system back off here towards the west, and this will be the real game changer, I guess, as we go into the latter part of the week. This will be sweeping its way through the Midwest and into our neck of the woods and bringing us some cooler temperatures, so don't get used to the upper 60s that we'll see today and tomorrow. So for today, warmer temperature, it's perfect. We got the high pressure off our coast, and that's bringing up that warm southerly wind, and that's what we like here. Those warm temperatures, very unseasonably mild, but again, don't get used to it. This system back off here towards the west giving very strong winds and colder conditions to the upper Midwest here in the Dakotas, will be sweeping its way across the country into our area and really changing our weather as we go into the weekend. So we got a pattern change ahead. This is the jet stream here, just a river of air that flows aloft, but it separates the warmer air from the colder air. So we got the colder air to the north and the warmer air to the south. And as this jet stream takes a dip here, we'll be getting cooler weather and also unsettled weather thanks to a series of low pressure systems that will be streaming their way through Canada. So we'll put the forecast into motion for you right now using Futurecast. Today, 11 o'clock, going to an early lunch maybe, or heading to your afternoon classes or your late morning classes. Not a whole lot going on, just a few clouds around. Again, 2 p.m., just a few clouds hanging around, but overall, not too bad. The clouds continue for most of the day, and again, it stays mostly cloudy right as we go into the evening hours, maybe heading out to those 8 p.m. classes, or maybe going out to dinner, or maybe even a movie. Not too bad, but the clouds will be around, but nothing in the way of precipitation. So overall, not bad in that respect. So for today, mostly cloudy but mild. 64 degrees is where we should top out here around Oswego. For tonight, we remain mostly cloudy, but our temperatures cool off quite a bit. 48 degrees is where we'll bottom out. But right before we take a look at that 5-day forecast, look at the fall foliage, man. If you haven't gone out and seen it yet, this is your chance to do so, and this may be your last chance. Peak colors across much of New York State and the Northeast, and even past peak up here in the higher elevations. So this weekend, make sure you get out there and enjoy it. And now that 5-day forecast you can see here. Thursday, breezy conditions, so those leaves may be coming off the trees with that wind out there. Friday, we become unsettled, and that lasts right through the weekend, unfortunately. So not the best leaf peeping weather, but by Monday, we clear out and we're back in the mid-60s. We'll have a look at your forecast in just 10 minutes, but we'll send it back to Sam right now.
Okay, thanks so much, Pat. Syracuse police are asking for the public's assistance in learning more about a suspicious incident that occurred last night. Police say a woman was dragged from a car into the back of a minivan around 8 o'clock last night in the parking lot of Red Lobster on Erie Boulevard. An employee on break watched the minivan pull up to the car and saw a man get out. The man yelled at the woman in the back seat of the car. He then dragged her from the car and into the minivan before driving off. Anyone with information is encouraged to call Syracuse Police at 315-422-5222. 21-year-old Clayton Whitmore has been charged with second-degree murder in the beating death of his girlfriend inside her dorm room last month. The Monroe County District Attorney's Office says a grand jury indicted Whitmore yesterday. He has been held without bail since the body of 18-year-old SUNY Brockport freshman Alexandra Kogut was found on September 29th. Whitmore was a student at Utica College and had been visiting Kogut. He was arrested at the Thruway West stop about 100 miles away. Both are from New Hartford in central New York. Whitmore pleaded not guilty during his initial appearance in Swedentown Court. State police have released the name of the second victim in Monday's deadly crash in the town of Geddes. 20-year-old Keisha Gray of Ohio was driving the Pontiac Grand Prix involved in the two-car crash on I-690 and was killed. The second victim was 21-year-old Ryan Meisner of Liverpool. Meisner was in the front seat of the car that spun out and hit a concrete median. A third passenger in their vehicle, Joseph Clayton, remains hospitalized in critical condition with severe head trauma. Police say the other vehicle, driven by David Grice of Fulton, could not avoid the Pontiac and hit the vehicle on the driver's side. He remains in serious condition. SUNY Oswego's Family and Friends Weekend is just days away. This event will take place this Friday, October 19th to Saturday, October 20th. Parents will be able to see firsthand what it's like to be a SUNY Oswego student. Students can show their guests around campus, take them to the first hockey game of the season, or enjoy a viewing of the play Sherlock Holmes. A lot of company is expected as hotels in the area are completely booked. And SUNY Oswego's Penfield Library will be hosting a book sale on Saturday, October 20th from 11 until 3 p.m. Books and media items from various age groups will be available, and most of them are priced under $1. For any questions regarding this event, please contact the library at 315-312-3010. And now we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll get you caught up on the latest in entertainment and get a final look at your weather. Stay with us. You're watching WTOP 10.
Get your Smoky on. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference, because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Chris, what are you doing here?
Oh, I always want to be first in line for the Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit.
The what?
The Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit.
What is that?
The Dr. Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit, Wednesday, October 24th at 3 p.m. inside Waterman Theater in Tyler Hall on the campus of SUNY Oswego. Meet the panelists who guide our media future.
The Oswego MBA program helping you achieve your goals with a customized curriculum developed with flexibility in mind. Take classes year-round, full or part-time in Oswego, online or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available online or by calling 315-312-2911.
This year's Super Bowl halftime show will make all the single ladies dance, and some famous faces and voices are coming to Glee. Carl Azus covers the latest news in today's Hollywood Minute.
Super B heads to the Super Bowl. Beyoncé announced on her website today she's performing at the Super Bowl on February 3rd, 2013. The words "Countdown to Touchdown" were followed by a picture of the star with eye black, displaying the date of this season's Super Bowl. No word yet on who will appear with Mrs. Carter on the 50-yard line. Good news for all you Gleeks out there. Jessica Sanchez, the 17-year-old runner-up on Season 11 of American Idol, is set to have a recurring role on Glee. Glee creator Ryan Murphy tweeted that Bette Midler has agreed to make an appearance on the show, but reps for the show say they have no further details. Actress and activist Angelina Jolie is weighing in on girls' education around the world. Jolie wrote an article for the Daily Beast titled "We Are All Malala." In it, she reacts to the Taliban gunning down Malala Yousafzai, a 14-year-old Pakistani schoolgirl who spoke out against the Taliban by promoting girls' education. Jolie describes telling her children Malala's story and how important an education is. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Carl Azus.
All right, so one more look at that forecast right now. Mostly sunny skies. Our temperature has gone up a few degrees in the last half an hour, so we're at 41 right now. Well, that's not the weather. I'll take that out of there. There we go. All right, our dew point's at 37. That's giving us a relative humidity of 86%, but look at that. We got a wind chill out there this morning, feeling like 38 degrees. So if you're heading out there, at least for the first half of the day, make sure you got that jacket with you. The fall foliage report, as I said, this is the weekend to get out there and doing it because these reds are overtaking the northeast, which means peak color. Okay, so once you get past peak, that's it, it's over. So there's not much time left to see it, especially going through the higher elevations. Maybe head out this weekend and do it. Do some leaf peeping because this is really the best time of the year, and at least in my opinion, here in the northeast. So for today, we got the warmer weather and even some sunny conditions. The sun will be making some breaks as we go beyond the morning. And it's thanks to this high pressure system off the coast here, drawing up that nice warm southerly flow. That'll be with us for the next 2 days before we go for a pattern change here. We get a dip in the jet stream, and as a result, chilly conditions and some unsettled weather as we go into the weekend. So for today, we start to cloud up as we go into the afternoon, but we stay mild. Temperatures holding steady in the mid-60s with that southeasterly wind. For tonight, we don't get quite as cold as last night. Some areas dipped well below the freezing mark. Tonight will only be around 48 degrees, again, thanks to that southerly flow bringing up that warmer air. And now let's take a look at that 5-day forecast. We end the week on an unsettled note, and unfortunately, it lasts right through the weekend for friends and family weekend. So definitely got to make sure those friends and family have the umbrellas if they're heading out for the weekend. Temperatures also pretty cool, only topping out in the upper 50s, but look at that. As we start the work week next week, 65 and sunny. Gosh, it's more like a September Monday than a mid-October Monday here in Oswego.
Your fall foliage report is my favorite part of your forecast. The peak season, I'm so excited. I'm doing a reverse friends and family weekend. I'm headed home to Albany, so hopefully the weather will stick out for us.
I gotta lie, I'm really pretty jealous.
Yeah.
I can't lie, rather, not I gotta lie. I can't lie. I'm pretty jealous because I haven't been home since school started, and fortunately, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it home until Thanksgiving.
My sister's flying in all the way from Florida just to go apple picking and get her dose of.
I need to go apple picking. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, hold that over to Ontario Orchards. All right. Well, thanks so much, Pat.
Sure.
A wig, a doll, a high-speed chase, and now jail time. Up next, find out how a suspect's adult novelty store heist went wrong. Stay tuned. You're watching WTOP Wednesday Morning News.
Oswego MBA program helping you achieve your goals with a customized curriculum developed with flexibility in mind. Take classes year-round, full or part-time in Oswego, online or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available online or by calling 315-312-2911.
Hi, I'm CNN's Rob Marciano, and you're watching WTOP10, your television station.
I'm lucky. I get to do something I love. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good, and that's the name of the game. My name is LaDania Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
WTOP10, Oswego, New York. I'm Nicky Cowboy.
Welcome back. A high-speed police chase in Oklahoma ended with a crash and the death of a life-size doll. Police say it all started with a heist at an adult novelty store. Lance West explains.
Jesse Allen Smith knew what he wanted and exactly where to find it. Stillwater police say the 27-year-old had his eye on X-rated magazines and a $300 inflatable friend like this one at Christie's Toy Box. He posed as a legitimate late-night customer.
As soon as my clerk rings up one magazine, the guy runs behind the counter and puts my clerk's head down towards the counter and basically leans over and puts the knife to his gut and threatens to stab him to death. Grabs the doll, the magazines, and money and runs out.
And witnesses say he looked nothing like his recent mugshot. Investigators say the suspect made a pit stop at the Stillwater Walmart before robbing the adult novelty store. He stopped by the Halloween section, bought a stringy wig like this, and used it as his disguise. He didn't get very far. Moments after fleeing the store, Payne County deputies spotted him and gave chase. The 5-mile pursuit ended in a violent crash into a utility pole. This dead-end street was the end of the line for Jesse Allen Smith.
The truck sustained really heavy front-end damage, and as a result, the doll didn't survive. She was just a casualty of circumstance.
Police say a very stubborn Smith survived the collision and was hauled off to jail after 2 jolts from a taser. And authorities say they have all the evidence they need to convict, including the knife, the wig, and of course, one deceased blow-up doll.
If this squirrel is right, Mitt Romney will be the next president of the United States. Serena and Chris Ashe of South Carolina say Nochi has a knack for picking the best nut. Today, he happened to pick the one on Romney's side of the cage. 4 years ago, he was right on the money when he chose the one on President Obama's side. The Ashes say they rescued Nochi when he was only a tiny baby outside an Italian restaurant. So he's named after the popular Italian dish. All right, and that will do it for us here at WTOP. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. I'm Samantha Damasio.
And I'm Patrick Kaplan.
Have a fantastic Wednesday.
And we'll see you right here again tonight at 10 o'clock.